Mike is having to go into recruit mode and try to save a lot of these guys, D-Lou, because they're starting to thin out. They're starting to leave a little bit, except for those offensive linemen. They're holding it down there in that 2025 class, but still, nonetheless, though, Florida State is having to do a lot of saving right now on their recruiting trail. Now with a 1-7 season, he got asked about the recruiting perspective going into the rest of the season and to the offseason as well. And he said, obviously, you can look at the record, you can look at the performance and see that as something that could potentially push some players away. But then some guys see the opportunity to come in, be a difference, and be a difference maker in what we're doing and where we're going. It's still about finding the right guys. I also said they didn't come here because the record was good. They came here because they saw the opportunity to be a difference maker.
Right.
You know, one thing about this message, you're going back to when he first arrived, gentlemen. I mean, don't blame him here, but it sucks. You can not say, hey, you're here to play for ACC championships. You're here to go win a national title. You're here to help me now rebuild. And I'm not, getting onto him, but I'm just put us in perspective here where he is. This is what we heard when he first arrived in Tallahassee. It's a reset mode for them, which is bad, but I don't think you could go into a full reset mode going into your 6th year after the season that you had last year. That's not the perspective that I don't think that this program should be having, or, Mike Norvell. This is a team that going into next year, I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm getting from these messages. And, he can't help it. He's got to say these things, but it's definitely brings back memories, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what message do you give them at this point?
That's what I was trying to think today when writing our outline here. I don't know. I don't want to be in his shoes for this because I don't know what you are telling families, what you're telling recruits, what are you telling these offensive linemen? I mean, that's about the easiest thing. But if you're going to recruit offensive linemen, if you need something in the trenches from the transfer portal, let's say,
you do.
But who's your offensive line coach? That's where I'm, I can't develop you. Come, we might be able to throw you a bag, blah, blah, blah. I can't get you developed, though, no matter if you're a recruit or a transfer portal. And you really need transfer portal guys. That's where I got to try to figure out what is Mike telling him? And we're going to get to where Mike says he has a plan. But how do you think this is working for the recruiting trail? How do you do this?
It's not working well. I mean, look at the returns on the high school class since the season began. I mean, obviously the message isn't clicking as much anymore, and obviously the results on the field weigh a ton on recruits' minds. And we saw it last week. I don't think we've talked about this yet, but Florida State, they lost the final wide receiver piece in their 2025 class with
really
CJ Wiley. Yeah, CJ Wiley, one of the top-rated players in FSU's class, regardless of position, but the top-rated wide receiver recruit reopens his recruitment, shortly after Florida State was defeated by Miami over the weekend. And a couple months ago, Florida State had arguably the top wide receiver class in the country, and now Dalen McCutcheon, Malik Clark, and now Wiley all back. Well, 2 of them have committed to other programs, and Wiley reopening things, but no longer in Florida State's class. And you've lost some other guys as well, and I think Florida State, they're going to lose another one in the next couple of days. A guy we've talked about on here before, 4-star tight end Chase Lofton, Nebraska native, committed to FSU over Nebraska. He's expected to officially visit the Huskers this weekend, and there's already some recruiting predictions going in for him to make that flip and stay in state. And why wouldn't he? I mean, why would you go out of state at this point to go play for a 1-7 team that's, probably going to end the season 2-10? I mean, if they beat Charleston Southern, let's be honest. What kind of message do you really have to sell? The climb, it's fallen off. I mean, I don't know how you continue to build behind that with the drastic shift that we've seen this year. like you said, the potential changes on the assistant coaching staff that we could see in Tallahassee. It's a very it's a weird predicament for Florida State, and I'm as interested as everybody else to see how they navigate this over the next couple of months.
Trying to see what else he said here. Also, at the end of this, said the right guys are going to show up, and the right guys are going to be part of getting this program back to where it deserves to be and where we all expect it to be. Those are the ones I'm looking for. The right ones will say yes, and they'll come in here, work their butts off, and it'll be a great story to see. Great story to see. Right in
Sounds like 3 stars to me.